Going back to the Isle of Man and in driving merchant adoption and usage out there, when you get a merchant to accept Bitcoin, could it be that they only get maybe 1 or 2 transactions a week? And how do they feel about that? And I ask for a reason because, like, I'm obviously thinking, we have Bitcoin Beach, we have Bitcoin Lake in Guatemala, we've got Bitcoin Island Original, we've got the Bitcoin football team. Like, I'm thinking about Bedford and driving adoption, like going around my town and trying to introduce it. But I can imagine going into a place saying, "Yeah, you should accept Bitcoin," blah, blah, and they do it, and then like nobody comes in. And like, how much is what kind of requirement, what kind of burden does it put on them to accept it?
Okay, reality check again for everybody.
Reality check.
It's adoption is very, very difficult in terms of payments in person, especially even payments online. In the Isle of Man, for example, we onboarded very quickly 50 physical point of sale shops where you can go and pay with Bitcoin. You are right, they may only get like 1 or 2 orders a week, some of them, so there's few and far between. And if some of them may go for a couple of weeks without an order because nobody's going there or no Bitcoiners are going there. And we have quite a lot of Bitcoiners on the island as well for the size of the island. There's quite a good density of them. So
how many did you get at a meetup, say?
It varies. We do like a weekly lunch thing where there might be like 10, 15 people. And then we'll do the monthly or every couple of months, there'll be more like towards 50 maybe. But everyone
good size.
Kind of cycles around really for how many people come. So there's a number of companies there now that are in the industry, and then a lot of other people just that have moved there to come and live there for most of the time capital gains tax purposes, and they've come and sat up there, and they're literally just coming and living there. Some of them don't work, but they're just Bitcoiners that are coming and settling down. But the adoption, it's definitely we've done that initially for the Bolt card, and to show people that the familiarity of what you can do with contactless cards, and you can make that payment. And we onboarded all the merchants. They came on board because we had that card. Before that card, explaining to them about accepting Bitcoin was so alien, it was so complicated. They didn't understand scanning QR codes, and like from a UK perspective, we're just not used to that.
Yeah.
So with that familiarity of the Bolt card and the contactless payments, that became such an easy sell. So we onboarded them very easy and very quickly at that point.
What new infrastructure do they require? To accept it, or is it really just about them accepting a card?
They just have to have an app on the phone. So they can literally just have Coin Corner app on the phone. They can have Breeze Wallet works with their POS version, loads of other ones all effectively work.
And so there is say it's a kebab, and they put in £5 and that person taps.
Yeah.
So an interesting point on that is, this is one of the things that's frustrating for me. So we use, at the Full Club, we use Zettle for our point of sale.
Yep.
And we have all our merch in there, and we have all our stock in there. And what's really cool is, we've got a game next Saturday. I will go in and I'll have do you know Zettle?
Yep.
So I'll go in here. Right, here we go. So here's all our stock, and I can go into inventory, and I can go down here. Right, I've got no bags of Maltesers. I've got only 7 cans of John Smith's. I've got no cans of Stella. And I can just go to cash and carry and stock up, and we have it there.
Yep.
And then when it's really cool, when I do want to do a sale, I go like this. I've sold a pint of beer, and I've sold a pack of crisps. I go to charge them. I can take the cash, card, and PayPal, and it all manages.
Yep.
But when I accept Bitcoin, I have to go to a separate system, take the payment, which is super quick, and then we have to have on a piece of paper, we have to write down what the sale is, and at the end of the day, I have to go in and take that off the inventory.
Yep.
Okay?
It's a pain.
Yeah, but it's not marked as a sale. So when I go and look, it's just a deduction on the inventory. So when I go and look at the reports of what we sold that day, I won't get it from there. So I have to do a manual report separately in Excel where I take it from there and do my Bitcoin. It's annoying.
Yep.
When do you think we get to the point where someone like Zettle, I just want to have Bitcoin.
Bitcoin on there. Yeah. That's what it needs. And that is when, I'll come back to the legacy piece in a minute, but what you say when you go and pay in a shop and you've got a point of sale device, which is a card machine, and you've got, you can tap your Visa or MasterCard and it just knows. Eventually the idea is it'll be a Bitcoin there as well. So you'll be able to tap your card or tap your phone and it'll pay in Bitcoin, Visa or MasterCard. And the merchant doesn't need to know which one, because when you go into a shop and they say, "Oh, you're paying with card," do you say it's a Visa card? You don't. You just tap and pay and off you go. So eventually that needs to be embedded, like you're saying there needs to be a Bitcoin option, and it actually just naturally works.
If we spoke to Zettle and they're like, yeah, cool, we want to do this, and they had a Bitcoin button,
Yeah.
would it be very easy for them to integrate with you? Would you
Yeah,
literally, is it like an API call and you'll display something and bing, done?
Yeah, it's pretty. We've just done our first legacy integration with a POS provider. They're a fairly small one at the minute, but I think they've got about 100,000
Who are they?
POS machines. Small company in the UK. I've not announced the name yet. Right in Alaman, sorry.
You can tell me afterwards.
Yes, but I've put a video out with on Twitter.
Is it basically that?
Yeah, so their POS system. So like very, very much, yeah. You go into a pub, and most of these are pubs, and it's got the pub POS system, and you'll pick your drinks and everything else, and it's got all the stock take and everything in there. And then when you come to payment, you can pay card or Bitcoin, and you click Bitcoin, and it's got an NFC adapter. You can
So we could just sack off Zettle and just go with them.
Yeah, you could do. Yeah.
Well, tell me who it is afterwards.
Okay.
Obviously, you can't say on air.
Yeah.
And I will have a look into it.
But there's lots, and there's more of them coming. We're working with quite a few others at the minute. Not again, I'm just contradicting myself here now, announcing something that's not already.
You're announcing an announcement.
Yeah.
But that's coming in the background is kind of where I'm getting to. The adoption is coming there, but it takes a long time. This small one has took like many months or 9 months, whatever it's been, of initial conversations to where we are now, and it's still probably going to be about another month or two before we get live and in a physical shop with that. So these things just take time, and the adoption, going back to the original point, the UX, especially in the Alaman shops, merchants, exactly what we've seen from El Salvador from a distance in this last couple of weeks. People are going into it, to the shop, saying, can I pay with Bitcoin? They're pulling out a phone or a device, trying to charge it up because they forgot to charge it because they don't get many orders. And the user experience is terrible for the consumer and for the merchant. And a big part of that is because there's not enough people regularly going and paying. So even though we onboard all of the merchants, it doesn't mean to say that the consumers are going to come. So you've then got the problem of, if the consumer's not coming, then the merchants are going to start switching off, is what happens there. And we've seen that historically exactly the same years ago, back in 2014, 15, and we onboarded a few back then, and then people stopped paying because the hype cycles disappeared.
Yeah, well, you've got a chicken and egg problem as well. Like at the club, most games we don't get any Bitcoin transactions unless a couple of random Bitcoiners have come in and they would do it. But the days where we have a meetup before the game, we take hundreds of pounds in Bitcoin because all the Bitcoiners want to pay in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And it's such a hard chicken and egg.
And I think what you've got to do is fast forward, going back to this time preference of take a step back and look at the bigger scale and look at, say, 10, 15, 20 years in the future. You say you've got your Barclays, your NatWest, and NatWest, and they've got 6 million customers with a Visa debit card out there. That Visa card eventually could just be a Bitcoin back card, like a Bolt card, a Lightning card. And they can effectively give that to their customers because all the merchants around the country accept it and use it. So at that point, it doesn't matter if they've got a Visa, or a MasterCard, or a Bitcoin card, they will be able to go and tap and pay, and it'll just pull from their bank accounts. So that's the point where it's no longer forced. It's in some point forced on the customers and the consumers of NatWest, for example, there. But it's now just another version of Visa, MasterCard. You've got Maestros, you've got American Express. It's another version of that. And the customer doesn't really, do you care if from your bank you get a Visa or MasterCard, which one it is? It doesn't really make a difference. So eventually, the banks, as they start to adopt Bitcoin and infrastructure and make the payments from a Bitcoin Lightning perspective, they will then eventually, the market will dictate which one they go with. Will they go with Visa, or will they go with MasterCard because of the pricing, or will they go with Bitcoin Lightning because maybe it's slightly cheaper now and it's not restrictive of what they can do and how they can operate the business. So that the market, I guess, will dictate which one. I'm not going to say wins at the end because they'll run in parallel for many, many years, I'm sure. But that is the way I would see it, taking that step back and seeing that is where you're, from the football club perspective, people coming in and paying, they'll be coming in and paying with Bitcoin without even thinking about it and realizing. But still, we are 10, 15, 20 years off that happening. But we have to build that infrastructure in place now and build that out. So in the meantime, while we're building that out, we need to find the current use cases around the world, which comes back to remittance and FX and money movement around the world. So in the meantime, you keep building them products out and making use of it. And every time you're making use of that and the remittance products, for example, that's pulling in hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people eventually, they all then start to get comfortable with Bitcoin. And then over time, they start using it in different ways, different capacities, and that then drives next waves of adoptions. So that's the way I guess I look at it, and the way I'm looking at Bitcoin in this long-term timescale, and not this short-term hype cycle if we can avoid it.